Well, good morning there, DBF family. On today's video, we're going to go over this real cherry Yamaha PW80. Let's get into it. So this motorcycle was one I found on Facebook Marketplace. I only paid like 450 bucks for this thing. I thought that was a great deal. Went over, made the drive, picked it up, and it's about what I expected for 450 bucks. So let's go back to last weekend when I dove into this thing and saw what it took to get this thing running. As you can tell, ta-da! But it did run and I did ride it. And after that, let's discuss what the plans for this little PW50 are in the future. Now, if you'll look real close right here, this has an aftermarket FMF exhaust on it. Right from Yamaha. See? Yamaha right there. No, it's not factory, but you know, whatever. This thing is pretty awesome. Got your fancy air intake looking thingy there with your Yamaha Technology racing sticker, so that's like 15 more horsepower for sure. Jeez Louise, look at that. That stuff is thick. Wash your bike, people. Water's cheap. I don't know. The old rear tire, it may or may not need a little bit of wind put in it. It's kind of baggy on the bottom. Not bad, but just a little bit. We might ought to pump it up a couple pounds, see what happens. Do you think that right there is a factory high flow air intake? That's kind of what I'm guessing. I'm sure it's like another 25 horsepower. I don't know. So as you can tell, this thing is not in excellent condition, but it's not in terrible condition. It looks kind of rough, but that's all right. So do I. Not in good condition at all. So first things first on this thing, I'm gonna roll it off the hoist and go outside in the dirt and give it a with some heavy engine degreaser, and hit it with some high pressured water and get this thing cleaned up. Because I mean, my gosh, it's got more oil and grease and you know, you can even shake a stick at it. And my heck, it's got all kinds of drips coming out of it. I don't know. It's kind of gross. But I think we ought to ride this thing today. Don't you think? So let's get this thing cleaned off and see if we can get her fired up and take her for a burn down the road. See how she runs. Now that I got the many layers of grease off this motor and oil and junk and garbage, I think I'm gonna go ahead, do myself a favor, pull this carburetor off and give it a nice thorough cleaning, and then we'll see if this thing will fire up. Yeah, man. Yeah, I dare say there's some garbage down inside that carburetor. Decent call. Wow. Now I got that carburetor tore apart. Let's stick her in the old ultrasonic sonic cleaner and rebuild this bugger, shall we? I think while the old cleaner's doing this job on the carburetor, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the air filter out of this thing, scrub it up so it's ready to go, and I'll put a new tube in this back tire so we can pump her full of wind so we can take her for a burn. Interesting little air box set up here. Come on out of there. Come off of there. Well, that was pretty easy. There is no air filter in this thing. You've got to be kidding me. Check this out. Yep. That's what was in it for an air cleaner. I guess I shouldn't have been too dang concerned about the intake boot being off of the airbox. Yeah. Love Facebook Marketplace. People. What do we do? What do we do about people like that? Oh man. Just be honest with people and be like, hey, it's gonna need an air filter, you know? I mean, not a big deal, but goodness sakes. All right, well, I'll see if I can find a pod filter kicking around somewhere. Go that route. Jeez Louise. Come out of there. That one's no good. Broke right off. All right, carburetor's back on. Let's see if this thing will fire up and run through a couple gears. Found a little bit of a source of a leak, I think. Check this out. Right there. Interesting. Not sure what to make of that. I'm gonna have to pull that cover off and look down inside of there. Ah, listen to her idle. Definitely a little on the heavy side on the oil fuel mixture, for sure. Let's see if we'll run through some gears. Might as well go burn this thing down the old road a little bit, shouldn't we? Well, that didn't last long. Well, that was anticlimactic. Yeah. I made it to the end of the driveway before it just decided not to run. Yeah, kind of weird. Gave her the old onion and fed her the beans, and it just kind of went beep, beep, beep. And it stopped running. Almost act like it fouled the spark plug out. So let's pull the old spark plug out of it and see what it looks like. Yeah, that could be the problem right there. She's definitely fuel fouled. Kind of gross. So we'll throw a new plug in it and see what that does. To have the spark plug out of this thing, now's a really good time to check the compression on this motor, and that'll kind of tell me the overall health of the top end of this thing. I'm a little worried where it's obviously been ran without an air filter that, you know, it's more than likely going to have to be rebuilt. But this right here, it'll definitely tell us. So let's see what it's got. Well, as you can see, this thing is not in primo shape. I mean, It needs a little bit of love. That's all right, I can do that. Parts for this thing are relatively inexpensive. I got a seal and gasket kit coming for this thing, and with that seal and gasket kit, I got a brand new top end coming for this thing. It was like under 50 bucks. Parts for this thing are stupid cheap, so why not, right? We know that it wasn't running with an air filter, so I'm sure it's not happy, right? But this is where I need your guys' help. I initially bought this thing just for the power plant to put into another chassis. I originally was going to put this into my Honda ATC 70 three-wheeler chassis, but I just don't know if I have the heart to do that right now. I don't know. So, ATC 70 chassis, option 1, or do I take this motorcycle and convert it to a modern three-wheeler, basically? Basically a miniature version of the Yamaha three-wheeler. I think that'd be kind of cool, actually. I don't know. What do you guys think? Or option 3, do I do suspension work on this chassis, front and rear, and do I soup this thing up and just make it kind of the ultimate pit bike, you know, the ultimate camp pit bike? So go ahead, comment down below on what you guys would do with this little PW80 if you owned it and you was in my situation. I think I know what I'm gonna do with it, but you know, I really wanna know what you guys would do with this thing, and that's probably what I'll do, whatever you guys wanna see, because if you wanna see it, you'll watch it, and all it does is help out the channel. Speaking of helping out the channel, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go over and hit the old subscribe button, you know, so you don't miss videos, and turn on the notifications and the likes and the everything. All it does is help me out so we can put out a little content, you know, every couple weeks or whatever, you know. Anyways, appreciate every single one of you guys that tune in and watch every week, and you guys are the best, and we'll catch you next time.